Hey, we are here to do our weekly whimsies, and we are going to start off with our narwhal. So grab your scissors and then just cut out your narwhal picture. Then you're going to grab your number 2 pencil, and we are going to sketch that lead on the back there. It doesn't have to be perfect, just get as much lead on the back as you can. This is going to create our transfer. Just going another direction with the lead, getting as much on there as I can. Then you're going to grab your washi tape that also came in your box. Like 3 different ones you should have, I think. You just need about an 1 or 2 inch piece of that. And then you also need to grab your 4x6 watercolor paper that also came in your box. I'm going to trim off a little excess of the paper so I can get a better look at like centering it on the page there. And I'm just going to take the top of it. And then you're going to use a medium to firm pressure and just trace your image. Now this bottom piece with all the seaweed and stuff, I did not trace every little bit of that. I'm just doing the general outline of that. And then I'm going to sort of just add in the details and stuff that I want later on with my pen and my paint. Leave my paper there just for a little inspiration for when I go in and detail a little more. And right now I'm just going to fix few of the areas with my pencil. Extra little bubbles here. And then I'm going to grab the pen and use the small side that came in the box as well. I'll be able to see a whole lot better now the details that I added. Now this is supposed to be a simple, easy, relaxing project, which is why we have the tracer. You can add little or as much detail as you want. These tracers are pretty detailed in themselves, so it's really up to you about how much you want to add. Typically, I try to keep these around 30 minutes, so that it's just something easy in the middle of the week. Get your creative juices flowing. Get a little bit of inspiration out on the page. So if you've started reading your book yet, the narwhal is one of the first creatures mentioned in one of them. I'm not sure if it's the first, but it's one of the first ones that they've discussed a few times throughout the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So I hope you've had a chance to get into your book already. As I'm doing this detail right here, I'm barely touching the pen to the paper, so it's very spotty and loose and thin. So it's not like a firm line. So I'm barely touching. Narwhals sort of have like that grayish, spotty top. Pretty cute. Now I'm just going to add in a little bit of the background detail. And again, I'm just doing a really loose, light pressure, barely touching the page. Same thing with the bubbles, barely touching the page. Outline at the bottom. Still super light pressure, much more than what I did with the Narwhal. Just leave it loose and squiggly. Okay, so here's the paint I'm using. We're just doing the green, the darker blue, lighter blue. I've got the really dark green, almost looks black, and then a white. So these are the paints that I have that you can purchase to go along with your subscription box. And then these are the brushes, also an option to purchase to go along with your subscription box. You just need to use that, put that on as an add-on. But definitely just use whatever you have at home. Art is awesome like that. You can use whatever you already have on hand. I have a towel to wipe my paintbrush off, and then I've got the paint and the water. And then I'm going to grab my brush, and I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use this one brush for the whole painting. So that is like the thin round number 5. That's what I've got. So I just dipped in water, and then I'm picking do want to mention that the pen that comes in your box is not waterproof. It does bleed a little with the water. But I'm actually going to use that to my advantage with this. So depending on what we're painting, we might not want that to be happening, but I liked, and sorry, forgot to erase all my pencil markings. So be sure to erase all of that before you get started. But what I was saying was I like the fact that the pen bleeds a little. It gives a lot of dimension, and you'll see once we get to the narwhal what that's going to do. It's going to make it look really cool at the end. So just remember that those will bleed a little as you get them wet, and it's okay. We're going to go with it. We want the messiness of it. Tap my paper off. All those eraser smudges off there. So this is acrylic we're using, but we're using it on watercolor paper. I believe it's 140 pounds. Right. But it's we're using it almost like watercolor, so I do water it down quite a bit, and you'll see as we move up here, I'm going to keep adding water. You can see, look, see how the gray starts to bleed into a blue filter. so that it almost becomes a wash the further away I get from my narwhal. Pretty oceany. You can see all the melted colors of the gray from the ink and then the blue paint. It's very beautiful. Very watery. So now I took my really dark green. And then I'm not following those lines very well that I put in with the sort of just painting right over them very organically. I'm leaving it a little messy. You see I have like white gaps left in there. I'm adding some of that dark blue down around the greenery at the bottom too, just to give it a little more depth, like shaded almost, so it looks darker down along that area. Gives sort of the effect that there's like greenery and seaweed and stuff further in the background. Okay, so here I have cleaned my brush and I'm just using water. So we are using the ink, making that bleed as our color for our narwhal. So they're mostly just white and gray. And so I'm just like washing right over top of those lines I created. And it almost creates like a natural shadow color right over all of that. So I'm not even using any paint color over my narwhal. Just water. So I picked up white, and I'm just going to brighten up some of those bubbles and highlight parts of the narwhal and the seaweed below you'll see. So I have used the same brush through this whole thing, number 5 round, and a nice pointy tip to it so you can sort of get the detail. And for something this small, it works out great. It's nice and easy, you don't have to mess with a bunch of tools. Putting a little bit of weight down on the front part of the seaweed down there. Now we need to get it to dry a little bit, so I'm going to wave it around and blow on it a little. I want to put some more detail back in with my pen. but it will bleed if it's too wet, so I'm gonna blow on it. I need to find my heat gun. That would have worked really a lot better. So what I'm trying to do here is find my heat gun. But of course you can just give it a break for a second. It dries pretty quick with the acrylic and that thick paper. And you can always pick up a little excess water with your paper towel if need be. It's already pretty dry. A couple of the white spots are a little wet, but for the most part it dried that fast. So I'm going to go ahead and take my thin side of my pen again and just retrace my narwhal a little more and give them more definition again. I'm bringing back my tracer just to see if there's any other little details I want to add back in. These tracers are nice because they have so much detail and you can really pick and choose how much you want to go in there with the ink. Add the extra lines and stuff. Adding like little crosshatch here and there. Belly of them, so like shaded details. And again, I'm going back in with pen and I'm barely lifting if you don't notice that. I'm barely pen over paper. Just a whole bunch of white circles. Not very much. This is also just to add some extra like pretty inked details, make it look more illustrated. So I do like bigger swirls and then I do like little circles between them. Add a little bit more lines back into the waves. Very light pressure. And don't forget to initial and date. there it is. Our quick 30-ish minute little weekly whimsy inspired by 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And the cool thing about this is you can work on it as little or as much as you want. You can always add more detail, cross-hatching, more paint, things like that, but it's a nice quick way to be creative through the middle of the week. Make something pretty. You can always put this in a little frame or send it as a postcard or something along those lines. I put mine in the book. As you can see, I have holes punched. I just put that on